sweets, and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to draw an anime style boy from the front view. And this is going to be in a very generic style, like what you would see in a regular anime. And I'm going to go through it really slowly and do it step by step for you so that you can follow along easily. Alright, let's get started. First, we're going to draw a circle in the middle of the page. And you can trace something to get this circle, but it doesn't have to be perfect, so you should try to just freehand it, just lightly sketch it in. And then we're going to divide this circle in half from the top, and this line should go down a little bit farther. And then we're going to divide the circle in half again, this time across. Okay, now we have a circle divided into quarters, with the center line coming down a lot more. And this line here, this is what's going to help us place the eyes, and this line here is going to help us keep the face symmetrical. And on this center line we're going to have the nose and the mouth. But before we put that in, let's keep going and finish outlining the face. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw some slightly angled lines on the edge of the circle, and then connect them at the center line. And it might take you a few tries to get this, but here's a tip. You see the bottom of the circle here, if you draw a line on it, that will tell you where to have the edge of the face curve in. In this place where it starts curving in, this is where the jaw is. Alright, let's erase some of the guidelines that we don't need anymore. And now it's starting to look like a face. So let's keep going. We're going to draw the neck, and this will be just inside the jawline. Depending on the type of character, you could have it right on the jawline. That would be a very thick neck, but we're doing just a regular guy who's not too buff or anything. So he'll have just two straight lines going right inside this jaw curve. And this will come down a short ways and then stop, and we'll put in the shoulders later. Alright, now let's do the ears. The ears will start a little below this eye line, and this is just a line that curves down and then slowly goes back in. It's sort of like an elongated rounded diamond shape like this, only we see only half of it because the ear is partially obscured by the head. We'll do the same on this side. And if you're not sure how to place the ears to make them level, just get a ruler, and once you've finished one ear, set out a line for the top, center, and bottom, and use those guidelines to place the other ear. Alright. Now we're gonna put in the shoulders. Notice that the shoulder lines are not perfectly straight, because when you're standing sort of relaxed, your shoulders go down a little bit. So be sure to not have the shoulders totally rigid. Even if you're standing very tense, the shoulder lines would not be perfectly straight like they were done with a ruler. And since this is an older character, and as a male, he has far wider shoulders than the girl character I made a tutorial for. So the shoulders, instead of stopping around this point, will end much further out. Try to keep the shoulders the same length. If you feel that you can't eyeball it, then you can get a ruler and manually measure it. But I just like to get the general placement down. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to use rigid stuff like rulers. Anyways, let's now begin on the face. So this is about where the eyebrows are going to be. Older characters have the facial features much higher up on the face, so instead of having the eyes around here, as they would be for a younger character, they're going to be right here, with the eyebrows ending up around this point. So, this point of the ears, where it comes out at its furthest point, this is going to be the bottom of the eyes. And below that, we'll have the nose. At the jawline, we'll have the mouth. Let's erase the guidelines we no longer need before we begin adding details. Alright, first let's make the eyes. So what I'm going to do is draw circles in the center of each of these segments. I'm sketching very lightly since I'm not sure if I'll keep this initial design, and I'm not sure if I have the placement perfectly right. So in this stage, keep your lines very, very light and loose and sketchy so that you can erase them easily later. Okay, we're going to cut these almost in half with a straight line and then erase the top. We can now get rid of these guidelines as well, just to keep the drawing clean. Alright, now for the bottom of the eyes. And now we have the basic sketch of the face. It's time to start adding detail. So, for the upper eyelid, we're going to have a line tilt down from the edge, and then this top line here that's straight, we're going to draw over it, adding lines that curve up a little bit. And then, once we get off of the iris here, we're going to bring the line down. Then, we're gonna curve it in abruptly, and that is the upper eyelid. The bottom eyelid doesn't need much changed. I'm just thickening it in the middle. Alright, let's do the same to this eye. The hook on the end, rounding the top, bringing it down, and the hook on that end. And the lower lid. Then we can clean it up. Alright, now here's a little tip about eyes. For energetic characters, we can show the entire iris like this. But for older, calmer characters like this one, the iris will be partially obscured by the upper lid, like this. So we want to make it look like his eyes are partly closed, I guess, by covering up this part of the eye. But currently, we can see just about all of the pupil because of the way we drew it. So what we want to do is go from this to changing the shape to that, a half circle. So let's make it wider at the top and thinner at the bottom. Wider at the top and come down to the bottom and have it end just above the lower eyelid. Alright, time to do another set of eyelids, and this is a really simple one. We're going to draw a straight line angled up from the edge of the eye there, and then a curved line on the edge of it angling back down. Let's do it again. Pay attention to this shape so that you can mirror image it on this side. We don't want to do this. We don't want it to be the same as the other side. We want it to be mirror imaged. So it would be like this. And now that we have the eyelids, let's place the eyebrows. These are going to be right at this line here, at this back edge near the side of the face, but it's going to gradually come down a little. you don't want to make it come down too much and make him look worried or angry. We just want to angle it down slightly so that he looks stronger. So just play around with the shape of the eyebrows until you like it. Usually it takes me a while to figure out exactly how I want the eyebrows to look. So you figure out the shape that looks best to you by just sketching over it and shaving off the edges that you don't like until you have an eyebrow that satisfies you. Alright, now for the nose. Right at this point, what we're going to do is a shallow arch right on top of it, and then a straight line below that. This straight line basically represents the shadow the nose is casting. And in some styles of manga, you will see the bridge of the nose drawn in, but I like this face to be very, very simple without a lot of detail, so I'm going to leave that out. Okay, time for the mouth. I'd like to erase this because it would be hard to erase around such a small line. Alright, memorizing the place where that line was, let's draw another straight line, a much cleaner one, and erase a small segment in the center. This small segment in the center that we erased will show where the center of the lips are. So the mouth that looks like this, we can't draw that on an anime boy because it would look like he's, I don't know, because it would look like he's wearing lipstick or something, which would be really weird. So instead, we will just draw the parts that are most important. The center, the low point, and the lower lip. And to do this, we will erase the center and draw the lower lip. It's the same mouth, but not as much detail. And we have the lower lip. And before we move on to the hair and other details, let's just quickly do the ears. Here's how to draw a simple ear. We have the shape here, and what we're going to do is draw basically the top curve but smaller, a circle in the center, and a small half circle down here. Let's apply this to this ear. And to the next one. Alright, I'm going to go through and darken the details that I want to keep and erase the stuff that I don't want to keep. So let's go into time lapse real quick while I do that. Okay, now that that's done, let's start on the hair. So what we're going to do first is we're going to outline how the hair will fall around the head. And to start with that, we will decide where the hair will be parted. I think I want it to be parted on this side. And then, on this line, we'll draw an arch which curves around the head and stops right below the face here. Let's do the same on the other side. Okay, time to erase the parts of the head that the hair will obscure, just to make things a little bit easier for us. Alright, let's decide how the hair will fall in front of his face. Usually I like to go with a 3-section technique, so let's see how that would look. We have one large strand in the center and 2 going off to the side. So we have these 3 sections of hair, each one a different size and angled in a different direction. This makes the hair look a lot more natural, since in real life the hair would not all be doing the same thing. And now all we have to do is go through and add detail. So let's follow the curve of this line and come out just a little bit more, and then add another line. And now we have a new strand. let's add a little extra curve to this line. And that is the center segment. For this one, we'll sweep it over very far. In fact, let's just make it come all the way off the head. Details like this is what makes characters recognizable easily in anime. And then we'll draw this strand coming down in front of the ear. For this one, we'll draw a small piece of hair coming down in the center, and then follow this curve properly. And do you see this strand in the back? I'm going to keep drawing it on the other side of the strand it's behind, so that it curls in front of his face. And now we will trace these lines up a little bit higher, so that we can see how it connects to this part here. And for the part, let's go ahead and make it deeper and add some hair behind it. And then we can go and add detail to the main body of the hair back here. So what I'm going to do is curve it in a little and then bring it back out. And on this side, I'm going to follow this line fairly completely until I get down here, when it will just fall down straight. Again, you don't want the hairstyles to look too symmetrical unless your character really takes care of his hair and always has it in a style that is carefully done and ends up symmetrical, because that doesn't really happen in real life, hair falling the same way on both sides. So try not to have it happen in your drawings unless that's the effect you deliberately are going for. Let's keep going. We'll curve this out, and then this strand will go straight down as the hair goes behind the head and we can no longer see it. Let's do the same thing on this side. Actually, that looks a little bit long and shaggy, which is not the effect I'm going for with this character. So instead, let's bring the hair in closer to the head before we curve it out and make those considerably shorter. Alright, that is all the detail we need for the head. Now let's add some detail to the eyes, which we haven't shaded yet, so we need to finish that up. Alright, on the right side of the eyes, let's draw a small tilted oval. This will be our shine on the eyes. Then cut the pupils in half with a straight line and shade in the upper part, being careful not to darken that oval that we set aside. And then in the center, draw a dark oval with thick, heavy lines, and those are the pupils. I'm going to darken the eyelids in and the eyes themselves so that it's more noticeable. Okay, the eyes are finished. Now, before we go in and add some toning to the hair, it's time to give him some clothes. I'm actually gonna adjust his shoulders a little. So the shoulders are made up of basically 3 parts. We have the chest here and the actual shoulders here. So on the chest area, it will dip in, but when we get back to the shoulders, it will come up and round off. For muscular characters, this effect is far more pronounced. But for him, it's just going to be a slight curve. Alright, and then on boy characters, usually not females, we have a line or 2 on the neck. And now we can do the clothes. So for his collar, let's draw a really nice collar. It's complicated when you look at it, but I found a way to make it very, very easy. So the collar wraps around the neck, right? We need to draw a line on each side when it comes out, and then the collar falls down over the chest. So let's draw that. Okay, the collar is 3D and it needs to connect in the middle somewhere around here. So let's draw another line curving down to that center point and erase the part of the shoulder that is going to be obscuring. Alright, now we're almost done. So what we're going to do next is we're going to draw a line here. This is the edge of the collar, and it's going to come down and connect here. But before it can, it needs to have this little hook come off. This is where it would button up, and then it can connect. If you want, you can take this a step further and draw this side of the collar curved and have it come down a little bit farther so that it looks 3D. And there we have a collar. And next we're going to be drawing his coat. He's wearing the generic blazer school uniform that the guys in anime wear. So let's draw that. We will have a small lump here for the wrinkle and a smaller one on the other side. Again, symmetry is not what we're going for. And the coat comes under the collar here. We won't be drawing this down to the bottom of the page, but the coat itself, here are the flaps of it. I'm sorry, I don't recall the exact name for these things right now, so I'm just going to call them flaps. They come a little off the collar, and then we draw another one beneath it. And there we have it, a manga boy wearing a blazer style school uniform. I'm going to go through and lightly shade some stuff in. So let's just fast forward to when I'm done with this. That is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to let me know what you thought of it in the comments, and also be a sweet and subscribe so you can get notifications when I upload videos. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.